Hi everybody, welcome back to another CYT-Crypto episode. My name is Stephen Aitchison and today we're going to be continuing our series on technical analysis, or technical analysis made easy. This is really kind of simple but powerful technical analysis. So today we're going to be talking about trend lines. What are trend lines, how we spot them, how we use them, and how we can use them to our trading advantage as well. So we'll jump straight into it. This is a chart for Splinterlands, the SPS. And the first thing we're going to do here, we've got a kind of bare naked chart here for Splinterlands. First thing we're going to go do is put a support line in, just to show us, give us a visual representation of kind of where we're at. I always like to do that, and we'll put the red support line in as part of the traffic lights, but we'll just leave that one for now. So that gives us the base, the support line. Okay, so what do we see after we've put the support line in? This is a strong support. We can see a couple of trends forming here. You can see kind of sideways, downtrend and uptrends, basically. So how do we use these to our advantage? Okay, so I'm going to show you how to put a trend line in. So there's two basic types of trends, downtrend and uptrend. Well, there are two trends, downtrend and uptrend. So we're going to use the trend line tool, and this is using TradingView, and we're going to put this in here. So to get a trend line, you need a couple of touch points. There's no point just doing using two touch points and calling it a trend line, because on this example, what we could use, we could say, okay, this is a trend line, but it doesn't really give us that much information. It's not really a trend line. There's only a couple of touch points there. So 3 touch points at least, I would say, for a trend line to be formed. I would call that here. So we've got the first touch point here, touch point nearly here. It doesn't have to be exact. And I'm using the wicks as well. Touch point here, 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 and here. So we've got about 5 touch points there. So that kind of shows us very clearly that there is a downtrend there. What we're saying is, okay, we don't want to trade this to the upside until it breaks through this trend line. So it's broken the trend line and it breaks it here, and this is where you would trade it. So there's 2 points to trade a downtrend. You can obviously short it if it breaks to the downside, but when it breaks to the upside, as in it has here for Splinterlands, you can trade on the break and wait for the closing candle, either on the daily, the 4 hourly, whatever chart you're using. I like the 4 hourly or the daily. So you can use it when it breaks out, or you can wait until a pullback happens. So if we go to the 4 hourly here, and check the same line. So you can see it broke out here and it came down, but it didn't actually test that support line. So a lot of the times, a lot of people wait for the retest. It's called a retest. Retest this line here and just confirms that is now kind of a support line almost. And a lot of the time it doesn't happen. So I like to trade on the breakout. So I would trade on a closing candle and just say, okay, it's broken out now, I'm going to buy this. So I probably bought this at 30 cents. In actual fact, I did buy it. I've been buying it all the way up using trend lines and using other tools as well, which we'll be talking about in other videos. So you kind of trade that. It's broken out from there and it's confirmed, and then it's gone all the way up, and it's still going up today, just now. So we're on the 18th of October just now. But what we also see now, is broken out, we can see another trend line forming, and we'll just do a trend line here. And say a trend line here. Now this doesn't have to be exact. As I said, a lot of people think it has to be exact. It doesn't have to be. It's just given. I don't go through the middle of it either. I just like to do the kind of wicks and the touch points as well. As long as we've got kind of touch points in there, 5 or 6, that confirms to me there's a definite trend line. And there has been a definite trend line for Splinterlands from the 21st of September onwards. So we've got an uptrend line there as well. And you can see it's now broken out of that uptrend and broken to the downside, round about 84, 85. Broken that and then retested it again just to say, okay, is this really a kind of break to the downside? Touched it and came back down again. So we need to wait and see what happens here. So looking at this, you would say, okay, I'm going to sell. If you were just trading Splinterlands. What I do with Splinterlands is I'm staking it, so I'm not going to sell here. I'll just buy it, I'll DCA in on the way down. So the more this comes down, I'll buy into it. But you can use this trend line as well, just to say, okay, where's the next points when I'm going to buy in? Or you can use your traffic light charts, and you can do something like that. So using the traffic light charts, you would say, okay, where's the next support? We've got fresh support here. If we're looking at a soft support, you've got a soft support round about there, and that's around about the 77 cents area, and then you're kind of coming down to the 63 cents area. So again, you're just using the horizontal lines. They're supports and resistances, so they're not classed as trend lines because they're not trending anywhere, they're not going up or down. So these are supports and resistances. So that's when you use your supports and resistances to say, okay, where do I get back in? Or where do I wait on it falling to before I get back in? So if I was DCAing on this one, I would wait until maybe 77 cents, then buy more to add to my bag of Splinterlands. I'll show you a couple of other examples. So this is Chain Guardians. And Chain Guardians are another gaming token. They're going to do absolute fabulous over the next couple of years on the blockchain. And you can see here, again, we've got a few touch points on this downtrend. Very clear downtrend there, and we've got the touch points there. So every time it touches that, then it's kind of breaking to the downside again. And it's never really broken out of that. So when you break, or when it breaks out of that, or you hope when it breaks out of it, that's when you're going to buy it, unless you're shorting it. You might, or unless you're holding it, and you might sell it up here at 48 cents, comes down, when it coming back up again, or when it coming lower, use your supports around about the 41 cents area, could buy there, when it going back up, and then sell it or trade it, or wait on the breakout coming. So I like to wait on the breakouts coming from downtrends, because it's usually a strong breakout when you get a breakout, because it's been going for since the 31st of July, this one, up until August. So it's a full month that this has been going. So if we play this and see how it played out, and that's how it played out. So a big move to the upside of around 255%. Now you can see here, if we zoom closer, and we'll get closer here, it broke out, came back down to retest that line, which was previous resistance. That was a downtrend, it was previous resistance, kind of retested it a couple of times before going back up. So I like to trade on the breakout of a downtrend and see where it takes us. A lot of people wait on the kind of retest coming back, but as we've seen in Splinterland, sometimes it doesn't do the retest, it just keeps on going up. So that was on a downtrend. Now if we look at Bitcoin here, Bitcoin 60,995, you can see a clear uptrend here. So very clear uptrend here as well. We've got a couple of touch points, all going to 29th, 30th of September, 10th of October, nearly one here, 12, 13. So we've got loads of touch points there. So that is clearly a trend line. Now, when Bitcoin breaks to the downside here, that's when you say, okay, I'm going to short, or I'm going to sell my Bitcoin, or you're going to add to it. If you're a Bitcoin hodler for life, or whatever you're doing with it, then you might want to add at certain key points as well. So again, this is where your lines come in, your support lines. Where's the support line for Bitcoin? On the daily here, and I would say around about the 53,000 area. You've got one round about the 57,000 as well. So you'd wait on it coming back down. Once it broke this downtrend, once it broke this uptrend, that's when you would wait on the supports coming in at 57,000, and you'd buy more. If it broke that, you'd buy more at 53,000. So it depends on your trading strategy. A lot of people are going to short it, a lot of people are just going to sell out of it altogether and wait on it kind of bouncing back up. Whatever you want to do, that's your prerogative obviously, but clear uptrend here as well. So these trend lines are really these trend lines are extremely useful to have in your arsenal as well. Knowing them, spotting them, you'll be able to spot them everywhere. So this is on the daily for Bitcoin. I'm sure you can see here there's lots of kind of trends here. So we can see, we'll just put in some downtrends and uptrends. You can see here, slight downtrend, it's not as strong. And we go back out. Again, we've got another downtrend here, very strong downtrend. And sometimes these downtrend can form channels as well, which we'll speak about in another video. So where else? There's lots of examples on Bitcoin chart because of the historical data it's got. You can very clearly see he's got a big kind of uptrend line there. Once it breaks to the downside, that's when you sell it, as I was saying. So there's lots of examples. If you just check historical charts and see if you can find these kind of uptrends and the downtrends as well. Another uptrend broke to the downside. So there's lots of them for Bitcoin and for Ethereum, the likes of Ethereum as well. But that is your trend lines. Trend lines are extremely useful to know and extremely useful to spot as soon as you look at a chart. After you do your traffic light kind of lines, then you put in your kind of trend lines as well, see where the trend is actually going, and wait on the trend lines until a trend line forms before you get in. Or you can just buy in, depends on if you're going to stake it or if you're wanting to accumulate, then it's a good time to buy in close to a bottom of a trend line as well. So you'd wait on Bitcoin coming down to 60,000, buy there and accumulate there. And you can do that all the way up. And this is from $41,000. So it's formed this trend line. Okay, that's it for trend lines. You've got the uptrend line, or you've got the uptrend, you've got the downtrend. Very easy to spot. So start using them every time you're looking at a chart. Use them, put the trend lines in so you know where the trend is. The trend definitely is your friend when you're actually trading and investing as well. So this is not just about trading. This is to look at the best time to start investing in a project as well. Okay, that's trend lines. Until next video, namaste, take care, bye now.